When you stand before someone who has built walls, who has pulled away, who is hidden behind silence, your power is not in chasing. Your power is not in begging. Your power is in presence, in truth, in the words you choose when you finally decide to walk away. Most people leave with anger, with blame, with desperation, and those words dissolve into nothing. But when you walk away with strength, with dignity, and with a seed of truth, you don't just walk out of their life, you walk into their mind. And that is where obsession is born. Imagine this, you look at them, not with tears of weakness, but with the calm fire of someone who knows their worth. You don't need them to validate you. You don't need them to understand you. But you leave them with a phrase so clear, so undeniable, it cuts through their defenses like a blade through fog. That phrase becomes the echo they cannot escape. Why? Because avoidants run from closeness, but they crave it more than anyone else. They push you away to test if you'll come back, to see if you'll fight harder. But when you don't fight, when you simply plant the seed and walk away, you create a vacuum inside them. And that vacuum pulls at them until the obsession takes root. The key is not to curse them, not to plead with them, but to leave them with something that stirs their soul, something that says, I see you. I know who you are, and whether you realize it or not, you'll think of me when the silence gets too heavy. That is the power of your final words. That is the power of walking away with wisdom, with grace, with an energy that says, I was a gift in your life, and deep down, you know it. And when you do this, they don't just miss you. They obsess over you. They replay that moment in their head at night. They wonder why you were strong enough to walk, why you were fearless enough to speak truth when they could only hide. You are not here to beg for love. You are here to embody it. And when you finally understand that your presence will never be forgotten, the final words we choose to speak hold extraordinary power because they become the last imprint we leave on someone's heart and mind. When dealing with an avoidant, this truth magnifies. They are experts at escaping conversations, sidestepping intimacy, and retreating into silence. But the human brain has a way of holding on to the last thing it hears, especially when it carries emotional weight. That's why your final words are not just words, they're anchors. They can either fade like noise or remain like a haunting melody that replays in the quiet of the night. Think about the times in your own life when someone left you with words that stayed with you long after they were gone. Maybe it was a single sentence, a truth that cut deep, or a phrase that carried so much love, it brought tears to your eyes every time you remembered it. Those words lived on not because they were long or complicated, but because they carried authenticity and finality. That's exactly what happens when you choose your words with intention before walking away from an avoidant. You are etching yourself into their subconscious. Avoidants thrive on control. They pull back because they want to decide the terms of connection. But when you choose your last words with power, you take back control. You create a moment they didn't expect, a moment they can't rewrite in their head. It's no longer about them shutting you out. It's about you leaving them with something they can't erase. That single moment becomes the place where their walls start to shake. Your final words are like planting a seed. Even if it doesn't grow immediately, the soil of their heart holds it. And because avoidants often avoid processing emotions in the moment, those words linger in the background of their mind, waiting for silence to water them. Days later, weeks later, maybe even months later, they'll find themselves replaying what you said. It won't be the arguments they remember. It won't be the times you chased them or begged for attention. No, it will be those last few words spoken with calm confidence that pierce through their layers of avoidance. There's a sacred energy in not over-explaining, not justifying, and not begging. It's the energy of restraint. It's the energy of someone who values themselves enough to walk away with dignity. And in that restraint, the avoidant hears something louder than words. They hear truth. They hear strength. They hear something inside themselves they've been running from, the fear of losing someone irreplaceable. So when you decide to walk away, remember this, your power is in the final impression you've behind. It's not about speaking in anger or trying to make them feel guilty. It's about speaking from a place of clarity and self-worth. Those words, when chosen wisely, will echo in their silence, reminding them that they may have pushed you away, but they will never forget you. Curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. It keeps the mind restless, looping back to questions that haven't been answered, conversations that weren't finished, and truths that feel just out of reach. When it comes to avoidance, planting the seed of curiosity before you walk away is not just clever, it's transformational. They are driven by a deep need to maintain distance, yet underneath that armor is a hunger to understand, to decode, to figure out the puzzle in front of them. And when you leave them with words that spark questions instead of providing closure, you ignite that hunger. The reason curiosity works so effectively is that it bypasses the avoidance defenses. If you confront them directly, they shut down. If you try to corner them emotionally, they pull away. But when you speak in a way that makes them wonder what you meant or makes them feel they missed something deeper, they can't simply escape it. Their mind replays it, turning it over and over, trying to fill in the blanks. It's like handing them a lockbox and walking away with the key. The more they try to ignore it, the louder it calls to them. This is not about manipulation. It's about awakening. Avoidants live in patterns of avoidance because they fear vulnerability and loss. But curiosity pushes them to lean in even when part of them wants to run. Imagine leaving them with a phrase that isn't angry or pleading, but layered with depth. Something like, "One day you'll understand what I saw in you." Or, "I know the truth you're not ready to face yet." Those kinds of words don't attack, don't cling, but they stir something beneath the surface. They leave the avoidant wondering, what truth? What did they see in me? Why does this feel unfinished? The brilliance of planting curiosity is that it makes your absence louder than your presence. You're not chasing them. You're not trying to force them to open up, but by walking away with a seed planted, you make them crave answers. And answers can only be found by circling back to the person who stirred the questions. That's where obsession begins, not in needing you because you begged for it, but in needing you because their own mind won't let them rest without you. The key is subtlety. If you over-explain, you kill curiosity. If you leave too many words, they tune you out. But if you drop just the right line, simple, powerful, mysterious, it stays with them. It echoes in the spaces they try to fill with distraction. They may go about their day pretending they don't care, but when night falls and the noise dies down, your words rise up. And in that silence, curiosity turns into obsession. So the seed of curiosity is not just about being remembered. It's about creating a magnetic pull that keeps you alive in their mind long after you've stepped away. Scarcity has always been the ultimate amplifier of desire. The moment something becomes less available, the human mind assigns it more value. This principle is deeply rooted in psychology, and when it comes to avoidance, it becomes even more powerful. Avoidants operate from a fear of losing themselves in closeness, so they constantly push others away to maintain control. But the irony is that when you finally step back and create scarcity, when you are no longer at their disposal, that fear of engulfment transforms into a fear of loss. Suddenly, what they thought they could take for granted becomes something rare, and the rarity awakens their desire in ways that nothing else can. When you make yourself scarce, you are no longer just another presence in their life. They feel the void. They notice the absence of your energy, your attention, your steady presence. And here's the truth. Absence is louder than presence when it's paired with significance. If you were someone who showed up consistently, someone who gave them patience, understanding, or love, your withdrawal creates a vacuum they can't ignore. The silence screams. The space becomes a mirror, forcing them to confront what they are without you. And the human heart, even the most avoidant one, doesn't like to stare too long at emptiness. Scarcity also flips the power dynamic. When you were always there, always available, they felt safe in keeping you at arm's length. They believed that no matter how much they pulled back, you would be waiting. But the moment you step into your strength and walk away, that illusion shatters. They realize you are not guaranteed. You are not permanent. And nothing jolts a person awake faster than realizing that something valuable can be lost forever. That's when obsession takes root, because now it's not about casual distance. It's about chasing what feels like it's slipping away. This principle shows up everywhere in life. Think about the limited edition product that sells out instantly. The relationship that people only appreciate once it's gone, the opportunities that suddenly seem golden when they're no longer available. Human beings don't value abundance the way they value scarcity. And with avoidants who already resist attachment, the only way to pierce through their detachment is to make them feel what life is like without you. The contrast awakens desire, because only through absence can they finally grasp your importance. It's crucial, though, that this scarcity is real. Pretending to walk away while secretly still chasing doesn't work. They will feel the difference. True scarcity is rooted in self-respect, in an authentic decision to step back, not to manipulate, but to honor your worth. That's when the shift happens inside them. That's when they begin to wonder why your presence felt so vital, why their life feels emptier without you, and why they can't stop thinking about the moment you decided to leave. In scarcity, you are no longer background noise, you become unforgettable. Self-respect is the foundation of influence, and when it comes to an avoidant partner, it is the most magnetic quality you can display. Too often, people give away their dignity in the pursuit of love. They beg, they plead, they chase, thinking that more effort will finally melt the avoidance walls. But what really leaves a lasting imprint is not desperation, it's strength. When you speak and act from a place of self-respect, your words carry a weight that desperation never could. They aren't just heard, they're felt, and they're remembered. Respecting yourself first means recognizing that your value doesn't diminish just because someone else can't see it in the moment. It means understanding that you are not defined by whether the avoidant chooses closeness or distance. When you embody this truth, your final words come out with a tone of calm certainty rather than frantic fear. And that certainty, that steady groundedness, is exactly what penetrates through an avoidance defenses. They are used to people chasing them, trying to prove their worth, trying to win them back. but they are not used to someone who values themselves enough to walk away without collapse. That shock is what makes them stop and think long after you've gone. Self-respect also reframes the dynamic. Instead of being the one left behind, you become the one who chooses to leave with dignity. Instead of being the person who tries to hold on no matter what, you are the one who says, I matter too. And that shift is powerful because it forces the avoidant to see you differently. It's not weakness they'll remember, it's strength. It's not neediness that will echo in their mind. It's the undeniable presence of someone who honored themselves even in goodbye. There's something magnetic about self-respect because it awakens respect in others. Even avoidants, who often resist closeness, cannot ignore the energy of someone who stands tall in their own worth. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. It's the quiet but firm energy that says, I know who I am, and I won't lower myself just to be accepted. And because avoidants secretly struggle with self-worth, seeing someone embody that level of confidence creates both admiration and longing. They may not admit it, but it stirs something inside them they wish they had. When you speak your final words with self-respect, you also create contrast. They may have expected you to break down, to beg, to lash out, but instead you leave them with something calm, firm, and dignified. That unexpected shift disarms them, and it plants a memory that lingers. They'll think back and realize you were not dependent on them for your value. And the more they reflect, the more they'll recognize that strength is what set you apart from anyone else. So in the end, respecting yourself first is not just about protecting your heart. It's about leaving behind an imprint so deep that the avoidant cannot erase it. Your dignity becomes the echo that lives on inside them long after you've walked away. Every avoidant carries within them a hidden longing, a secret desire for connection that they rarely, if ever, show on the surface. On the outside, they appear strong, self-sufficient, and uninterested in closeness. They act as if they don't need anyone. But deep inside, behind the armor and the defenses, there is a hunger to be seen, to be understood, to be loved without conditions. The tragedy is that this longing terrifies them, so they bury it under avoidance. Yet when your final words touch that buried place, you awaken something they can't ignore. Avoidants often fear vulnerability because they associate intimacy with pain, loss, or rejection. They've built an entire identity around being untouchable, around keeping emotions at bay. But the truth is that no one can fully silence the heart's need for connection. That need is part of being human. And when you speak words that gently, yet powerfully, acknowledge what they're running from, you stir that longing into consciousness. Suddenly, they're not just dealing with your absence. They're dealing with the stirring of a need they've been trying to hide from themselves. It might be as simple as reminding them in your last words that you saw through their defenses. Something like, I know you don't let people in easily, but I also know how much you want to. Or, one day you'll stop running from the very thing you crave. Those words are not accusations, they're mirrors. They reflect back the truth of their hidden longing without shaming them for it. And that reflection lingers because deep down they know it's real. They know you touch the part of them that they've spent their life trying to keep hidden. Awakening their hidden longing doesn't mean trying to fix them or rescue them. It means showing them with your words that you already saw who they were beneath the armor. That acknowledgement is rare and it's unforgettable. Most people only see the avoidance walls, but you saw what was behind them. And that kind of recognition has a way of burrowing into their heart, replaying in their thoughts long after you've walked away. What makes this so powerful is that longing, once awakened, is relentless. An avoidant may try to distract themselves, to dive back into their solitude, but the seed has already been planted. The memory of your words keeps reminding them of what they want, but are afraid to admit. And the paradox is that the more they try to suppress it, the more powerful it becomes. It transforms into obsession because they can't resolve it. They can't escape it. You've touched the part of them they keep most hidden, and that impact can't be undone. So when your final words awaken their hidden longing, you are not just leaving. You are leaving them with themselves. You are forcing them to face the truth they've denied, that behind all the avoidance, there is a heart that aches for love, for closeness, for someone like you. And that truth is what they will obsess over long after you've gone. When you speak your last words with intention, they don't just vanish into the air. They linger, they echo, and they replay in the mind of the one who hears them. This is what I call the echo effect. It's the phenomenon of words spoken with authenticity and clarity continuing to live long after the moment has passed. For an avoidant, this echo is especially powerful because they process emotions in delay. They may brush off your words in the moment, appearing unmoved or indifferent. But as time goes on and silence surrounds them, those same words return like whispers in their mind, growing louder with every replay. The echo effect is what keeps you present even in your absence. It ensures that while you may have physically walked away, emotionally you remain a constant reminder. It's not the arguments they remember. It's not the times you over-explained yourself. It's that one phrase you left behind, spoken with conviction, that rises again and again in their memory. And the more they try to push it away, the more persistent it becomes, because the human mind naturally gravitates toward unresolved moments. What makes the echo so potent is that it's tied to emotion. When your words carry an energy of self-respect, truth, or even mystery, they attach themselves to the avoidance emotional core. And emotions are sticky. Long after logic has dismissed the moment, emotion keeps replaying it. They may be at work, lying in bed at night, or going about their day when suddenly the memory of your words resurfaces, pulling them back into the moment you left. It doesn't matter how hard they try to distract themselves, the echo is already alive inside them. The echo effect also highlights the difference between closure and obsession. If you leave them with neat, over-explained closure, their mind has nothing left to process. The chapter feels complete and they move on. But if you leave them with a phrase that holds weight, something that feels unfinished or layered with deeper meaning, their mind keeps working overtime to decode it. That loop of curiosity and emotion creates the obsession. The avoidant who once seemed so detached now finds themselves haunted by what you said because it refuses to leave them alone. This is why restraint is so important. The fewer words you use, the stronger the echo. A long explanation gets diluted, but a single powerful sentence becomes unforgettable. It's like striking a bell. The shorter and cleaner the strike, the longer the sound reverberates. When you speak with brevity and authenticity, you strike the bell of their soul, and the vibration continues long after you've gone. In the silence of your absence, the echo becomes their companion. It fills the space you once occupied, and over time, that echo transforms into a realization they pushed away someone who not only saw them, but left behind words that cannot be forgotten. That realization doesn't fade, it grows. And it's in that growth that obsession is born. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many people think detachment means coldness or indifference. But true detachment is rooted in strength and peace. It's the energy of someone who knows their worth and no longer clings to outcomes. When you walk away from an avoidant with this kind of detachment, you radiate a calm power that speaks louder than anything else. They may forget the details of what you said, but they will never forget the energy you carried as you said it. That energy is what haunts them, what stays with them, and what makes them realize they underestimated your presence. Avoidants are highly sensitive to emotional signals, even if they pretend otherwise. They pick up on neediness, desperation, or hidden motives instantly, and that's when their walls rise higher. But when they encounter detachment, when your energy is steady, unshaken, and free, they don't know how to process it. They expect you to chase, to argue, to demand, or to collapse under the weight of their distance. Instead, you show up with grace, offer your words, and leave with dignity. That shift breaks their pattern. It disorients their defenses. It forces them to reflect. The power of detachment lies in how it flips the script. Instead of pouring energy into proving your worth, you embody your worth. Instead of clinging to what's slipping away, you trust that what's meant for you will remain. That quiet faith creates an energy field that the avoidant can feel even after you're gone. It unsettles them because it contrasts sharply with every other experience they've had. Most people in their lives have tried to pull at their walls, but you didn't. You let go. And that release creates an invisible tether that is far stronger than chasing ever could be. Detachment also amplifies the mystery. Words spoken in anger are predictable. Words spoken in pleading are easy to dismiss, but words spoken in calm detachment leave them wondering, why weren't they shaken? Why didn't they fight harder? How can they walk away so steady when I thought I had control? Those questions don't go away, they grow. And with every passing day, the energy you left behind becomes harder to ignore. It's as though your detachment highlights their attachment, the very thing they try to deny. Another layer of detachment is that it communicates freedom. Freedom is magnetic. When you demonstrate that you are not bound by their behavior, that your joy and peace are intact regardless of their choices, you embody a kind of emotional independence that is rare. And rarity creates desire. The avoidant, who prides themselves on needing no one, suddenly sees someone living out that same independence, but with love and presence included. That contradiction is irresistible. It awakens both admiration and obsession because they realize you are not trapped in their cycle. So, the energy you carry when you leave is the true signature. It's the vibration they remember. It's what makes them replay the moment in their mind, not because of what you demanded, but because of how effortlessly you let go. And in that letting go, they begin to feel the weight of what they lost. When it all comes together, the truth is clear. Your final words are not just sentences. They are soul imprints. They carry the weight of self-respect, the spark of curiosity, the power of scarcity, the mirror of hidden longing, and the echo that lingers long after you've walked away. And when you walk away with that kind of strength, you don't just leave, you remain unforgettable. Thank you for giving me your time and energy today. May these words not only guide you, but empower you to honor your worth. Speak with wisdom and know that the love you carry within is your greatest power.